Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another very special edition of In the Weeds on location at the New England Cannabis Convention. We call it NECANN, not to be confused with NECN. Yes, where I did have a little career back in the day in the 90s, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But what I'm finding out about this show at NECANN Boston this weekend is that the beverage industry is welcoming the cannabis community and some of those magical cannabinoids in it. And they've created some very interesting opportunities, flavors, and it's a whole new business. So I have Josh Grab with me right now from High Tide.
Yep.
Great name, by the way.
Thank you.
Have you always been in the beverage business?
Oh, God, yes. 20 years I've been in the beverage business. Started when I was in college working for Coca-Cola on Martha's Vineyard. So I used to load the trucks. I used to deliver. And, yeah, that's where I got into the rear. Really just on the ground floor.
That's a great summer job, and you have tons of stories, don't you, from Martha's Vineyard? I mean, in your 20s on Martha's Vineyard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about some amazing nights at Martha's Vineyard Food and Wine Festival? I mean, that's where we can start stories. The Wharf. You ever been down to the Wharf?
Of course I have. just remember, everything we're saying is being recorded.
Oh, I love it. I love it. These stories are great. Anyway, so how's your show going so far?
Everything's great. Thank you very much. In fact, but this NECN and NECANN, so it's very difficult. People still think I work for NECANN. The NECANN show has been very well received. The reviews I'm hearing from people, the people that are impressed with the crowds, the depth of vendors here and exhibitors.
I say it's the best year yet, and it keeps getting better every year. I think it's really becoming a true consumer show as much as a buying show. I encourage people to come out here, check it out, meet the suppliers. The nice thing about the cannabis industry, it's all local, right? Everybody is local to Massachusetts here. All the companies are based here. They're producing here. The flower's all grown here. And it's truly the most local, innovative industry right now in Massachusetts that people need to check out.
And there are quite a few manufacturers of beverages in the Massachusetts market already. It's becoming very competitive. How can you differentiate your cannabis mocktail from others?
I think what we really tried to do is we went after the world's #1 cocktail, and that's margarita. Everybody loves margarita because a margarita can be at a chain restaurant in the middle of the country or the fanciest beach on the Cape, right? It goes everywhere. People love margarita, and they also love socializing. Beverages for years have been the true social experiments, right? Everybody socializes with beverages. But cannabis sometimes cannot be very social. Smoking, a lot of people don't like that. Taking a gummy, how do we socialize like that? What are we going to do? This? Cheers? It's a little weird, right? So we really thought of beverages as beverages being that true social experience that people can have. And listen, we make an amazing drink.
And it's going to be available. You're wholesaling this into dispensaries and hopefully eventually cannabis social lounge. I don't know if you heard the Belushi speech, but one of the commissioners was in there. They're looking at day licenses, social cannabis consumption day licenses, and I know they exist because there was a NECANN event in Boxborough this fall with Gary Sommers, and it was unbelievable. It was where I got to interview Cheech Marin.
Okay,
which was really, it was the key. You know, what Mark Shepard did with Jim Belushi yesterday is what I got to do with Cheech Marin at that show. And that 3 days over Columbus Day weekend was really the most fun because there wasn't a lot of people, but the business world was there. You know, the NECANN reaches deep, and we all had a blast. And it was a reggae concert with the Wailers that ended on Sunday.
I love that.
And it was like the best of reggae. I mean, we knew all the words. You know what I'm saying, John?
So, I'm glad you brought up reggae. May 4th, we are throwing our launch party, Jimmy, and I'd love for you to be there. We have the Elevators playing. Are you familiar with the Elevators?
I bet they go up and down. No, I'm not, obviously.
Okay, well, you got to check them out. Anyways, so we're going to have 3 flavors, right? We have a spicy jalapeno, we'd call our Diablo, a watermelon, and a classic. Keep talking to me. What else we got going on?
So I'm encouraged by let me rephrase this.
Okay.
I think Massachusetts has learned a lesson in the fact that there is a connection with your canopy and the consumers that are using and growing it, buying it, the market movement, the vertical movement of the market, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that they understand that they may have made a few mistakes with too many licenses and too many places, plus the way they set up the regulations with the host community agreements and some of the other injustices out there, like the fact that Massachusetts still requires medical dispensaries to be verticals. It doesn't make any sense anymore. When it was under the Department of Public Health, when the medical program began in Massachusetts, you could make the case it made sense.
Sure.
It was the first time in, they want to learn about the product, see how it goes, what's the anecdotal evidence, if you will. But now they're starting to get more, it's going from infancy to toddler.
And it's funny you say that, because I believe there's a lot of noise in the market right now. There's a lot of noise of vertical integration. Who's your wholesaler? Who's this? What we're really looking at is trying to create a brand that people understand, can trust, and really can get behind. I think a lot of people are looking at it who are inside the business right now, are looking at it as, oh, this is this person. To the consumers, they're just looking at for good quality products that they can get behind and share with their friends.
When can people start asking for High Tide in the dispensary near them?
So we have had an amazing show, and we have had an overwhelmingly positive response, right? We have buyers coming up to us asking for exclusives in their market. We have people saying, I want more. Here's what our plan is really to do. We're going to find 20 to 30 locations that we can first start, work out all the kinks, make sure that the staff is well trained, that they understand the care that goes into this beverage. We're using all natural juices. We're using fresh lime, fresh agave, fresh watermelon, right? So we don't want this just to be a drink with cannabis. We want people to really enjoy this. We want the bud tenders to be able to, romance it and tell people what's going on with all this. So we're going to take our time. You're going to have to find that dispensary that has it. You're going to make sure they have it, call ahead. It's going to be one of those things that's going to roll out there slowly, and we're going to get it there.
Fantastic. Yeah. I do want to ask you, the Massachusetts limit of THC, right, is a 5 milligram infusion. Am I correct?
Yep. That is it.
Okay. The saying, start low and go slow.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Will there ever be a 2.5 milligram infused beverage?
That's a great question, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great question. So when I think of the dosage size, there's a theory and there's a movement going on, right? We call it the take half, right?
Right.
If I give you an edible and you're a new user, what are you going to do?
Take half.
That's right. So you take half. So on our can, we recommend if you're new, take half. Go slow, let it see how it goes, right?
Yep.
If you get better at it, if you're more comfortable, drink the whole can. Still go slow. Here's the thing. Drinking cannabis is totally new to a lot of people. Cannabis is new to a lot of people. There's a huge amount of people that haven't had cannabis or maybe had it in college. People need to experience it, right? Come in, try a margarita. You know what that is. We're High Tide Cannabis Margaritas. You can't forget us. You can't miss us, right? Have a half a can. Do I want to see a 20, a 30 milligram beverage? I think there's a place for that on the market.
Can I tell you where the place is?
Where?
There's another gentleman in this space. You know everybody in this beverage business in the Massachusetts, so I'm sure you know.
Yep.
Jason Reposa from Goodfields.
Sure.
When we interviewed him, he told a great story, and it's one of the few times I actually asked immediately after the show, I want that soundbite.
Okay.
Because he talked about talking to an oncologist and how frustrated the oncology world is in Massachusetts. And everybody knows Dana Farber in this town is king, the best cancer research in the world. Mm-hmm. And the doctor wanted higher milligrams of infused beverages for their patients who need a higher dose for their medicinal treatments, whether it be cancer or any of the other, but strictly for cancer. Isn't that great?
I love that.
And
I love what Jason's doing over there. I love his whole vibe. I love his brand. When I came to the show last year, his was the first booth that I went to, and I wanted to meet him and see exactly what they're doing because I have a lot of respect for them, and I think he's got a great brand. He's great for the community. Yes, I encourage everyone to check out what they're doing over there.
Yeah. No, you know what? I love that because, one of the things about this industry, one of the things about this plant is it brings people together. One of the socialization aspect of it, when it wasn't legal and available in dispensaries, all right, was always special because you could follow your nose. Ooh, I smell something. Oh, it's around the corner. You go down, 3 strangers sitting there passing a joint. And you're going, hey, cool, man. And they go, hey, come on over, man. And I don't care if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Jamaican, it didn't matter.
What about Jewish? Do you care from Jewish?
Of course, not only do I care, I'm a tribesman, so I love you, man.
Yeah, where'd you go to summer camp?
That's a riot.
Wait,
hang on a second. It's funny you're saying that, okay? Because Camp Bower Crest.
No, you didn't.
Did not. Did not, but I'm with the CNA stores in Amesbury, because they were at the Summit Lounge with us, right?
Yeah.
And I talked to the people. I said, look, I know like 50 alums from Bowercrest because I grew up in Newton.
Sure.
All right.
Keep
but I
going.
went to Camp Caribou
Okay.
in Winslow, Maine. Have you ever heard of it?
15 years, Bowercrest.
Oh, so you know Mark Smaller.
Of course I know Bibbsy. Of course I know Bibbsy. I was at Disney World last week, and Bibbsy was there. I was trying to track him down. I know I think his son was one of my campers. Love the guy.
So can I tell you a quick story since I grew up with the Smallers in Waubun?
Bibbsy,
Okay,
yeah.
right, with Bibbsy.
Yeah.
And, of course, I know the D'Angelos, the Twins Enterprises. My family's business was attached to the souvenir store that the Twins had on 126, 120 Brookline Ave, was M. Brown Office Furniture, my grandfather.
Yeah.
And, of course, we attached to the Twins building next door, Yawkey Way, Jersey Street,
Okay,
whatever the frick they're calling it now,
yeah.
right? And it's just amazing to me what a small world we have in our cannabis community and our tribesman community
Is
too.
there anything better than going to Fenway and going into Twins and seeing all the hats on the wall, getting a new hat? I took my son to his first game last year, and I was like, do you want to go look for a souvenir? He's like, sure. He's like, this one. I'm like, we got to go to the one that I know, and just walking around there brings back so many memories.
Right. No. Well, Fenway Park is special to me too, as you know.
Yeah.
And I did get to cover the Red Sox Mets World Series and do a live
86.
shot with Hank Aaron. And I haven't shown you the picture, obviously, because I show it to like everybody I see. It really is one of my favorites because Mike Adams, who you know,
I know Mike Adams,
took the photo. And not just one photo of me doing a live shot like I'm doing with Josh here, playing the role of Hank Aaron, Josh Grant. No, not at all. He took a montage. It's like 8 different angles he took. And, of course, I didn't know he took them until we ended up working together at NECN.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I hope Mike's going to join us at the Summit Lounge. Wednesday, April 12th is going to be our next.
cool.
And you were at the last event.
I was at the last
Can you give me a little feedback? Honest, please. I want to say something right here. I didn't know this guy before the Summit when I met you at the Summit Lounge. All right. Then I find out we have a very good mutual friend, but we don't need to go there just yet. What was your impression of the Summit Lounge group that was there? The what we did? Was it fun? Was it good?
It was awesome. It was fun. It was a great vibe. I got to come. I got to meet. I met some customers there, some other owners, some people in the industry that I've always wanted to talk to. It was one of those community events that it's not this huge event. It's a nice, intimate, social event. I think the content that you did, I think the people you have on is great. I think the more people can talk and socialize about cannabis, it's the better for everybody. This is, I want to share this amazing experience that I have with cannabis with everybody who might have been too scared to try it. I think. Let me tell you one more thing. Do you mind if I give you one more?
At this point, I've lost control, so I'm just going to let you go and keep going.
So I think here's the thing.
Now I know why he wants the microphone too. Just say. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. When we were growing up in the '90s, early 2000s, right? You were older then.
I was in the middle of my career.
All the people right now, the millennials that are saying, "I'm done with drinking. Drinking's not working for me anymore." Right? I want to be a little more healthy. They're saying, but cannabis, I did that when I was younger and I got nervous. It makes me nervous, gives me anxiety. It's not the cannabis that gave you anxiety. It was the fear of getting arrested, prosecuted, all that stuff, in trouble with your parents. So what I encourage everybody to do is try it again. Go slow. Take a half a gummy. Take a half a can. See what happens. See if you have fun with your family. See if you like them better. I don't know.
See if it even it affects you because the first time you ever try cannabis.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not going to get high. Right. So the same thing can happen anytime you add a new type of titration into your own body. So if I'm a regular smoker and then I take an edible, it's not going to impact me as much as it would somebody else who's not a smoker, who hasn't taken it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is a great experiment in human behavior and a new plant medicine impacting the endocannabinoid system in all of us, and understanding people are starting to learn it affects everybody differently.
What it's amazing about this too is we have years of people passionate doing this in the shadows, and now the research is coming out. Now all the studies and all the benefits, we understand that. So I encourage people, this is the best time if you're new to it, or if you're an old user, to come back to it and say, try some of these new products. There's so much things out there. There's tinctures, there's edibles, there's drinks, there's flour. I mean, it's crazy. It's awesome.
There are great people in this industry too.
They're all great people. Everybody cares. Everybody puts so much passion behind their brand.
Right.
We put a lot of passion into our brand. And
What's the website?
it is hightidebevs.com now. Is that what
High Tide Bevs.
Sorry. Get High Tide.
Get High Tide, and make sure you spell high the right way. H-I-G-H right here. Always the edge.
Yeah. Cannabis infused margaritas. We like to say we bring cannabis to life.
There you go. That's Josh Grab. He brings cannabis to life, and I think I just found an old friend. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up from this section of the In the Weeds special from the New England Cannabis Convention. Don't go away. The special edition of In the Weeds with Jimmy Young continues after this, if my voice will hold out. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the floor of the New England Cannabis Convention. That's where NECANN is happening here at the Hynes Auditorium. I'm Jimmy Young from Pro Cannabis Media. This is my Walking in the Weeds podcast, and I'm here with the Drinkable company. The Drinkable company. That's what they're called because it's an infused beverage. And Mark Mahoney is one of the principals there, and we're going to talk with him. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Tell me about the Drinkable company and how important now infused beverages really are becoming.
So, Drinkable Company is going on a year old right now. We're launching simultaneously in Maine and Mass, 420. And we've got a great partner up in Maine, Sweet Dirt, who's well known in the marketplace, and in Massachusetts, Ocean Breeze Cultivators in Gloucester, Mass.
I love that.
And the fact of the matter is that beverages are the only social consumption side of cannabis for everybody. So people that smoke go to a smoking lounge or whatever, and they're not legally like most of the beverage side of the business. You can enjoy it with friends at a pool or a party or out in a boat, just like you would a cocktail.
I've watched the beverage division of cannabis grow in the last 4 years, and it definitely is a future play here in so many ways. What's your background? How did you get into beverages?
I've been in beverages for 35 years. I've spanned everything from frozen cocktails to smoothies to beer, distilled spirits. We own a coffee business, the Atomic Coffee Company, which is celebrating 26 years under our family ownership, second generation.
Nice. Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. You know, because I come from family businesses that I turned down.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would be that third generation that, anyway.
Yep. So I decided about 2 years ago, I was helping Levy get launched in Massachusetts. I stepped off their advisory board to help a friend go through terminal cancer. One of my first business partners with Maui Beverages, Al Williams. The last 3 or 4 months of his life, he was using more gummy bears for sleep and pain than anything else. And he was an alcoholic. And he said, you need to figure out how you get this into this cannabis space with beverages. And after Air Wellness purchased Levy, the guys asked me, are you going to get into this? And I did a data dive on it, shared it with a COO that used to work with me in a few beverage companies, and he loved it. He was in Costa Rica surfing during COVID.
No wonder he loved it.
Yeah. And he said, I'm coming home and I need to be part of this because he discovered that one of the largest cannabis consuming populations in the world is Maine to Maryland. And he said, all we have to do is figure out the 95 corridor. And that's our goal, is to be in several states, up and down 95, and appeal to the masses.
And the interesting thing about beverages is you create a recipe that can be shared and licensed across state lines.
Correct.
So you already have an established interstate commerce opportunity, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it was, it's basically 35 years. We've got some advisors that have been in the food and beverage space for 35 to 40 years. I mean, the combined value of that knowledge is impossible to find. So I harness that in our network, and we're bringing a CPG background and food science background to the industry to professionalize it. We think our branding team is second to none. Our products are having fantastic
Reviews
here. Yeah,
usage and reviews.
Yeah. So we're really thrilled to be part of this growing industry, and just watching it morph over the last 2 years that I've been looking at it is incredible.
Right, and of course, there's a couple of big issues in the cannabis industry having to do with business and financing your company, and also dealing with banks. I've had my account shut down twice. Have you had any issues with the banks?
No, so the interesting thing is we're not a licensed cannabis provider. We provide all the intellectual property, the brand IP, and the knowledge how to run canning lines in somebody's licensed facility. So we're able to, we've got a network of great investors that we've worked with over the years that stand by us and believe in us and have helped us weather the storm, the economic storm, and it's very difficult to get into this space.
Oh, you think it is? Especially if you have the capital in the bank.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest injustices in this industry is the politicians and the activists all want to help those that were most impacted by the failed war on drugs and give them a chance to get into this industry. Belushi was just talking about socially responsible capitalism, giving back to the community. This is the industry that has that opportunity because it's so new, and it also is filled with passionate people.
It is. Yeah, the growers and the bud tenders and people that work in the grow facilities are amazing. We've met some great people in 2 years, and it's so different than any industry that we've been in. I've been in food service and retail and wholesale, and it's a remarkable industry.
And it's gone from illegitimacy to legitimacy.
Absolutely.
And how many other businesses can you really say?
I tell people, what's your background in cannabis? I said, my last grow was when I was 16 years old, and I was very bad at it. So I decided not to re-engineer that with beverages, which I enjoyed an awful lot in the last 35 years. So we want to put that to good use.
What I'm starting to see now, because we do a regular news show called We Talk News, and I'm starting to see that the usage of cannabis is starting to impact the beverage community, whether it's more tax dollars being generated by sales. As someone who has spent their career, or certainly a good chunk of your life, in the beverage community, it's refreshing because you don't see them as competition. You're actually collaborating with the industry.
I think to that point, if you go back 5 years ago, the proliferation of non-alcoholic spirits like Kin and Ritual and Seedlip and companies like that, really, there's a different demographic that is not consuming alcohol. I mean, let's face it, alcohol is not good for your body. It doesn't process. It's a toxin.
It's a poison.
Exactly, right? And, as much as everyone enjoys it, there's, when you look at Dry January this year, that was up over 25% over the year prior. You look at companies like Athletic Brewing, Bill and John and his team are doing a great job doing a great craft beer without alcohol because people enjoy the taste of the product. However, they don't want to have that poison in their body. They want to be fresh when they wake up the next day, and cannabis offers all of those attributes.
It does, and I'm pretty sure it was Harpoon Beer, another company in the area that has now got one of the beverages too.
Yep.
Are you? Well, actually, you know what? You've been in the beverage community forever. Competition doesn't freak you out, does it?
No, we never want to pay too much attention to what the competition is doing. Obviously we watch them, but we don't make decisions based on what they're doing.
And hold it up. This is Swivel. And I see it says Diet Root Beer, which, by the way, is one of my go-to sugar drinks, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is Swivel. How do people get it? Where can they find it?
So it'll be available in Massachusetts, Maine, through our delivery with our partners, so Sweet Dirt in Maine and Ocean Breeze Cultivators in Gloucester.
There you go. And that's where you can find the product. Mark, it was great to meet you and talk.
Thanks for your time.
Absolutely, appreciate it. I'm going to continue to make that walk around the New England Cannabis Convention and create in the weeds content, so don't go away. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the floor of the New England Cannabis Convention. I'm Jimmy Young, the founder of Pro Cannabis Media. I've been doing various interviews all over the floor for the last few days at New England's largest cannabis convention. And as you may have noticed, many of the people that I'm talking to are in the beverage world, the infused beverage world, the mocktails that are out there. And here is another one. Is it Novell or Novel?
Novel beverage.
Novel Beverages. And this is Chris Edwards, and he's you know what? Let's just say he's the man for this particular interview. Tell me about your company and what you guys do.
Yeah, sure. Novel Beverage has been making cannabis-infused beverages now for 2 years up in the state of Maine, and we've now become licensed in the state of Massachusetts and started selling drinks into the market in mid-December of 2022.
Fantastic. And it's an infused beverage
That's right.
with 5 milligrams of THC in it, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And I asked another beverage folks about this question. I said, because the whole mantra of the industry is to start low and go slow, is there like an entry-level 2.5 milligram beverage that's out there?
Well, you can certainly drink a half of a can.
That's exactly what they've been saying. That's right. We were talking. Go ahead.
Well, what I would point out is that with this innovative can design, you can open it and you can reseal it. And so for somebody who's not interested in drinking the whole 5 milligrams, you can put this back in your refrigerator and keep it completely fresh for at least a week.
Fantastic. I love that. And one of the pioneers in this industry is a guy I'm pretty familiar with. I'm sure you know of Goodfields, Jason Reposa. Great guy. Everybody likes him in the business. And he gave me a quote about an oncologist that he had talked to. And what the oncologist said to him was, we really don't want 5 milligrams for our cancer patients. We need more THC in the beverage because it is truly a medicinal plant medicine, right? So as someone who's in this business, how do you feel about the limits of 5? Or should there be a special medical tier of beverages for cancer patients?
Yeah, it's a great question. I fully acknowledge the need for higher dosage for medical patients in particular. Currently, the regulations, of course, require vertical integration for medical licensure, and so what we're very much in support of removing that vertical integration requirement, such that we could manufacture higher dosage products and sell it into the medical market.
Right. And that's what's going on now in the Massachusetts legislature. I know that they have introduced a bill for that, and hopefully we can get that left over from the Department of Public Health regulation that every medical dispensary had to have a vertical integration, right? That was how it all started, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. We're a little beyond 2013 when it started now. It's 10 years later. We've established an adult use market, and I'm hoping that the public's education has been improved, through some of the programs like we have. We have a 24/7 news talk information educational program. What are the biggest challenges for you in the beverage industry? And you guys have, I'm going to tell you, based on what I can see, this is a pretty wide variety of products here.
Absolutely. We have something for everyone, ranging from sodas to mocktails to cider to teas. I think that one of the biggest challenges that we're facing in the beverage category is storage space at the points of distribution. Initially a lot of these facilities were built out before beverage was available, and so the vaults were sized accordingly. And we're seeing a lot of vault expansion happening around the state that should open up the floodgates.
That's good. That's fantastic. All right, Chris, where can people get your product and how do they find out about it?
So great question. We're in about 80 stores statewide currently in Massachusetts. You can find us through our websites, Buzzy Sodas, Canadrinks.buzz, and Pine and Star.
There you go. Now, you're up in Maine, right?
Yes, sir.
What town?
We are in 91 stores in the state of Maine and our manufacturing facilities in Scarborough.
Scarborough, Maine. Very familiar with Scarborough, Maine. Thank you very much. I worked for Channel 13 for 11 years, from 81 to 92. Some of the greatest years of my life as a sportscaster were spent in Portland, Maine, where I met some of the greatest coaches and athletic people that I still have so much respect for, and I miss it. The Maine experience was very, very special to me, and I love the fact that Maine and Massachusetts now are collaborating on a lot of cannabis-related products and services. There's some really good grown weed up there because Uncle Pete Transpontane is a friend. I'm sure you know who Uncle Pete is.
We'll make sure you have Uncle Pete pick up some of our beverages.
Yeah, absolutely, because he's one of the original caretakers in the state of Maine and now an elected official in the Sanford area. So love people from Maine. Great to meet you. I wish you the best of luck with the Novel Beverage. Novel Beverage Card. All right, that's going to wrap up this edition of In the Weeds special from the floor of the New England Cannabis Convention. I'm Jimmy Young. I think I might actually have one more interview if I can find Jason Reposa from Goodfields. Hi, everybody. Jimmy Young back on the floor of the New England Cannabis Convention doing our In the Weeds on Location show here at the Hynes Auditorium in Boston, Massachusetts. Yes, I am still the founder of Pro Cannabis Media, Jimmy Young, but we've been seeing a lot of beverages. I've interviewed a lot of people in the infused beverage world of cannabis, and I consider Jason Reposa from Goodfields a friend, because I've known him now since the beginning, let's just say, both of his venture and my venture. And I've been asking his staff to get him over here because they've been talking about Goodfields and his company and Jason on some of the other interviews. But here I am at his booth. He's not here, but luckily Chris Murray is, and he's going to tell me what's going on with the Goodfields. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. And yourself?
Okay. So explain again, what makes Goodfields so good?
One of the things is inclusion. A product which definitely tries to get people together, but also just for its simplicity and how well it makes you feel and how quickly it goes into effect as well.
Getting water-soluble beverages has been a huge development for the industry because it's opened up a whole new branch like the infused beverage world, right?
Yes.
So how challenging is it going to be to differentiate your product from some of the others in this space?
What makes it pretty unique right off the bat is the fact it is an edible and one that you can turn anything into an edible because it's in liquid form. So there isn't really pretty much any other competitor out there that is unique or similar to us, so it differentiates us very easily.
That is the key, because this space is going to get more and more, I don't want to say crowded, because people say, it will get crowded, won't it?
Yeah, we'll have to share some space.
And how challenging is it for beverage manufacturers to stay within the 5 milligram THC limit that the states put on you?
Easy, because that's as high as you can go. But it does kind of limit the amount of fun because some people do want more. And that's where our beverage enhancer comes in. That's very useful because you can apply a lot more than that through multiple distributions of it. Instead of just having 5 milligrams in one bottle, the beverage enhancer gives you the ability to use as much as you want at any given time in anything you would normally eat or drink. And that's why we did win the award for Best Innovative Product.
Well, I was just going to say, that is a tremendous innovation. And I'm glad that it was Jason and Goodfields that did that. The thing about Jason, I think I shared this story with you already. When he came on, I want to say a year and a half ago, 400 interviews later, it's like, okay, it's all a blur. He told me the story about an oncologist friend of his, a cancer doctor, who was frustrated with the fact that they couldn't put more than 5 milligrams in a beverage for their own cancer patients because the cancer patients should be able to take as much as they need to alleviate the symptoms, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Jason, I give him credit for this. This is something that I am adamant about bringing more attention to. Your enhancer now helps that, doesn't it?
It does indeed, yeah, especially with the CBD addition to it, having best of both worlds, THC and CBD. And just recently I had an elderly couple come up to me, the wife whom had problems with her hips, who said the CBD helped her with her pain, and the other gentleman who was around 70 said it helped him tremendously with his sciatic nerve pain. So you get the best of both worlds, the enjoyment of the THC side and the CBD that helps you relax and alleviate pain.
That is the magic of the cannabis plant, isn't it?
We try. It is a fabulous little plant. We're learning more every day from it.
That's right. And God, I really do believe that God put it on this earth thousands of years ago for health reasons, to make people better in whatever ails them, right?
And not just to build, thousands of products out of the hemp as well. Pretty versatile little plant.
And hemp especially is versatile because you can build houses and you can build cars with it. And we can be wearing hemp clothes. Right?
Oh, yes. I remember those days, yes, back in college.
How many decades ago was that for you, pal?
I'm going to keep that in the DL, but,
I guarantee you're not class of 79 like me.
No, I'm still trying to age gracefully like a bottle of wine.
That's Chris Murray. This is the Goodfields booth. Jason Reposa is the man in the beverage industry here in Massachusetts. And I'm Jimmy Young, the founder of Pro Cannabis Media. That's going to wrap up our In the Weeds special on location at NECANN. So until next year, remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly, learn about it, like, share, and subscribe to all the Pro Cannabis Media content.